How does space influence the minority attack? Have you ever wondered how space on the chessboard can change the dynamics of a game? Today, we will discuss how space influences the minority attack, a key concept in advanced chess strategies. The minority attack is a tactic where a player with fewer pawns on one side pushes their pawns to undermine the opponent's structure. Space plays a vital role in making this attack effective. First, let's define what space means in chess. Space refers to the control of squares on the board, mainly determined by where the pawns are placed. When a player controls more space, their pieces can move freely. In contrast, the opponent's pieces may feel cramped and restricted. This is important because pawns are the least mobile pieces and set the boundaries for how pieces can operate. In a minority attack, the attacking player usually has a pawn majority on one side but less space compared to their opponent. The goal is to advance these pawns against a larger pawn chain. This can create weaknesses, like isolated or backward pawns, in the opponent's position. The effectiveness of this strategy relies heavily on how much space the attacker controls. If there is enough space, the attacking pawns can advance without facing immediate threats. Now, let's look at how space directly influences the minority attack. First, having enough space allows the attacking pawns to move forward without being easily blocked. If space is limited, the opponent can stop these advances, making it hard for the attacker to gain any advantage. Next, controlling space means that the attacking pieces can support the pawn thrust effectively. If there is not enough space, supporting pieces may struggle to find good squares, which reduces the pressure on the opponent's structure. Additionally, the minority attack aims to create weaknesses in the opponent's position. More space allows the attacker to maintain pressure on these weaknesses, making them more valuable strategically. Finally, space also affects the timing of the minority attack. With more space, the attacker can choose when to push their pawns based on the position of the opponent's pieces. This flexibility can optimize the attack's impact. In practical terms, consider the Carlsbad structure that arises from the queen's gambit declined. Here, the side with fewer queenside pawns, usually white, tries to advance the b-pawn against black's c-pawn chain. If white controls enough space on the queen side, the minority attack can successfully undermine black's pawn structure. This creates targets and open lines for rooks and bishops. However, if white lacks space, the attack may fail and leave white with weaknesses. To sum it up, space is a key factor that influences the minority attack. It determines how effectively pawns can advance, how pieces can support those advances, and how weaknesses can be created and exploited. Understanding the role of space in pawn structure is essential for executing a successful minority attack and gaining a strategic advantage in chess.